So today I saw this day more for how we can improve. And like Lena said, if you have questions, we would very much like to have them. Maybe we can't answer them all, but we will try our best. And we have, in all those countries, lots of data, as you will see, that helps us to convince people that we need to improve the situation. So, when it comes to Icelandic reality, when it comes to reverberation, there is understanding that acoustics needs to be good, no doubt. And we, as we saw yesterday, the new legislation is very good when it comes to this. What is, however, worrying me is this activity noise. You can never foresee how much it will be, and that is school policy there. Discipline, number of children in room, and so on and so on. As I understand, and I hope to be corrected if I am wrong, there is no limitation how many children in open planning school can be in a room. There are some rules for preschools. Too many, as children in a room. Then I found this statement we made. As I told you yesterday, we started in 2006, it was, and that was a working meeting where people from all Nordic countries came together, and we discussed, and we made this statement to send to the government. But the time was not ripe then for it. Maybe we are a bit closer today. And with the pressure of the unions, I really hope so. So you see, in 2006, we were discussing exactly the same we are discussing here. And discuss a common future view on legislation for preventing disturbance in speech communication for the benefit of adults and children. And many persons in modern society suffer from voice disorders due to environmental factors. Voice disorders are increased because of increasing noise exposure, and it has increased since 2006. I have no research behind me, I have just my own experience. So speech communication, well, that's something we have to look into. That is what is supposed to be in classroom, take place in classroom. And voice ergonomics, we can also call it, in a way, communication, oral communication ergonomics, deals with all the measures that increase performance in speech communication, decrease risk for voice disorders, and enable recovery from voice disorders. And then we come to the next slide. So, the focus of this legislation does not specifically deal with risks for voice disorder speech communication at all when it comes to occupational safety and health at work. That is what we want to have somewhere to be seen, that the voice is at risk, really at risk, for many of professional voice users. The noise exposure impact on hearing is, however, well understood. And the rules, pay attention to this, the rules are applied in practice. The same ought to be done within the field of voice and speech communication. So we are measuring noise in classroom, that it should not damage the hearing. And then we come to the last one, legislation. You will see the tables in the next slide. Exists, for example, on acoustics in ordinary classrooms, where background noise due to activity is not considered at all, although it is a crucial factor for speech communication. How far have we reached in these 7 years? Coming to the last slide. That was in 2006, and I guess hope those pictures are a bit lower when it comes, for example, to reverber's time. That is RT per second. And you see it is rather high for Iceland, 0.8. It's too high for children. It's okay for us. We are always measuring from adults because school is a working place for adults. And that is what I want to change. I want it to be a working place for both children and adults. So, when you come to communication policy, factors that are not taken into account include noise, that will say activity noise. We are dealing with noise inside, outside the room, more or less. Humidity, Icelandic air, indoor air, we could feel it very easily yesterday. It was not good at all. Heat, number of individuals in rooms, and distance between the listener and the speaker. And all over, I have taken out acoustics from this list. Because we have to see the limitations. The limitation of voice to carry. I can hear my voice very clearly, but I have not the slightest idea how you hear it there. And then we have this inverse square law, we mustn't forget, causing the sound level in the voice to decrease by distance. And then we have this Lombard effect you saw yesterday. But we say that we increase the volume in the voice with increasing noise. So, the present situation, considerable number of voice users suffer from voice problems rooted either in the nature of the job or unsuitable circumstances in workplaces, usually combined. No, up to now, occupational health and safety legislation protects the voice as occupational tool, at least in the Nordic countries, so far. I will be corrected if that is wrong. Then we have the limitation of successful hearing, because voice is of no use if there is no one to listen, right? So we have hearing problems in children, we know that, maybe increasing, very much likely. Underdeveloped hearing ability, they don't learn language in noise. We were discussing that yesterday. Language disorders, I have the feeling it is increasing. Development disabilities, learning disabilities, and bilingual. This is all what is very difficult for children or prevent them from learning language. And according to measurements, noise in preschools and sports halls is above level considered to be dangerous for hearing and far above levels considered to be acceptable for concentration and communication. And there we have some of my data, and then you can see the number of 98 dB, an average noise for 8 hours in a preschool. And okay, activity noise goes up and down, we know that. So then I ask always, if the average noise is so high as this, and we know it is low sometimes and higher, and then how are the tops that bring these numbers up to this level? They must be very high. And then we are breaking the laws. Then For 5 sport teachers, all measurements, 8 hours, were above 80 dB, up to almost 90 dB. That's very high. We need changes. Still, noise exposure as an impact on hearing is measured, but not when it comes to voice and speech communication. Voice is not yet recognized as a working tool. Schools are not mentioned in occupational health and safety at work legislation for places where it is imperative that conversation should be clearly audible. They say other places, but they don't mention schools. What has been done in Iceland in the field of communication or voice ergonomics the last 10 years? Several research on teachers' voices, objective from tape recordings, and subjective from questionnaires. Research on acoustics, my colleague here, and research on noise, objective or subjective, that will say again, from meters and questionnaires. What do we have in Iceland? Data on teachers' voices and their opinion on their working environment. These results are comparable to research elsewhere, from showing that teachers have voice problems and the working environment is not beneficial for voice use nor hearing. From the teachers' replies, we have information how to improve the situation. We saw that yesterday. More understanding on voice and voice use when it comes to the individual professional voice user. I would like to see that in the curriculum for the teacher training students, that they should have some information about voice and voice use. And then we have connection between environment and voice with correlation. Those teachers who complained about bad acoustics in their classroom complained about dryness in the throat, pitch breaks, and voice fails to project. It's, for example, very dry ear here, and I find it difficult to talk because I'm always taking air through my open mouth. According to replies, preschool teachers experience the greatest noise from, and I want the Union of Teachers to pay attention to this because this can be solved. The children themselves, which means, of course, discipline and fewer children in the room, building blocks like those we are using, school routine in general. Again, we come to discipline, and we saw from Hólmfríður that it is possible to lower the activity noise. In the children's locker rooms, when the children are having lunch, entering or leaving the school building to play outside. So for consideration in teaching premises, the school policy, size of a room, acoustics suitable for the activity, say the proper reverberation time, number of individuals in a room, teaching methods, use of application, the choice of furniture, play equipment, toys. So the teacher's opinion on how to lower the noise, how to improve acoustics, fewer children in a group, more discipline, control, and reducing noise from furniture and furnishing by using mats on floors and cushions and the chair feet. For education and information on voice and communication, research results have been published in the media, in magazines, in lectures. For some years, teachers training students were offered information and training in voice use. This has stopped in the university in Reykjavík, but is still continuing, less so, in the university in Akureyri. Not as much as in the beginning. Speech and language therapists have been giving voice courses to professional voice users. What we have gained, more awareness of voice and voice use amongst individual professional voice users like teachers, more attention paid to acoustics in schools when it comes to reverberation and noise, except noise from activities that will say human beings. What we need here in Iceland for improving voice communication ergonomics, more understanding both from the authorities as the general public on the limitation of voice and hearing, to spread information on voice and voice ergonomics to the public, especially to those who have the authority to change. And I hope several are here in this group. To protect the professional voice as a working tool, if necessary, with legislation. To protect communication, voice and hearing in a learning environment with standards and, if necessary, with legislation. So, that was the last one. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Valdís. So we continue this discussion. I'm going to tell you again about the changes that has been now in the acoustic consultancy environment here in Iceland. Hljóðvist. Yeah. She was asking what the acoustics is for, and I think it's maybe the easiest way to explain it by displaying the requirements made in this new standard I talked about yesterday. Maybe to start with, I said yesterday that the number of acousticians have been growing a lot, and I was recalling it yesterday. I think there were around 3 or 4 a couple of years ago. Today we are around 10. So it's triple the amount that it was, but we're still few, like I said yesterday. Over these 10 years, the numbers of projects that we have to work on has been growing a lot, and all the things that we have to look into in each project has also been growing a lot. The methods acousticians use to calculate the acoustical environment in a building, that has been developing a lot. A couple of years ago, there was an Excel sheet most of us used, but today I think all acousticians in Iceland use 3D modeling software that is very sophisticated and good. So this has been changing a lot to the better, and now we're just excited to see what influence this brand new standard has on the acoustical environment in Iceland. And I'm going to review the difference between the old requirements in the Icelandic Building Code, how they were and what they are today. And the main difference is that the old building code only had the minimal requirements, and those minimal requirements they were just for a couple of aspects of the building acoustics. And the new standard, the ST 45 2011, we have these sound qualification classification standards, where A is the best standard, the best class, and D is has the minimum requirements, and that is only for older buildings. And so I just jump straight to the requirements as they were. So this is in Icelandic, I'm sorry for that, but this is airborne sound insulation. And for school, which is our main topic in this conference, we only have 2 requirements. Between regular classrooms, it's 48 dB, and then between special classrooms for music teaching or such, it's 60 dB. This is the impact noise for example, when someone is walking on the floor above, how much you can hear it down. And here are the school classrooms, and it's 63 dB. That is allowed for the whole building. Here is what I think is the most important factor, the reverberation time, which has a lot of influence on all activity noise and speeching, all speech and hearing properties. The old requirements had the requirement for the average reverberation time for the frequency 250 up to 4,000 hertz. So if we had some room with very long reverberation time in the base, but short in the higher frequencies, that was okay, because the average was okay. Still, we had horrible acoustics in that classroom. And in some cases, when we had this horrible acoustics with long bass and short, higher frequencies, someone perhaps went and bought some thin absorption plates, installed them without thinking the effect, but that just shortens the higher frequencies more so. So the case is even worse than it was before. Here are the requirements for classrooms. We have corridors and hallways, 1 second. Classrooms, 0.8 seconds. Special classrooms and group rooms and such, 0.6. And then for gymnastic halls and swimming halls, 1.5. I think I forgot to mention this yesterday. This is for kindergartens, a room where children are most of the time, 0.6 seconds. This is sound from technical equipment, 35 dB. And then from technical equipment outdoor. And then to the new standard. See, I'm almost over with my time. Here there are 4 categories. A, which is really good acoustics. B, good acoustics, better than the minimum requirements. C is the minimal requirements for new buildings. And then D, which is suitable for older buildings. And so this is the one of 2 tables displaying requirements for airborne sound insulation. So this was 2 numbers in the old one, but now we have 2 tables. And this is then the impact noise level. The minimum requirements are similar to the old one, old requirements, but now we have more requirements. It's for more types of rooms. 2 tables for this. And here's my favorite, the reverberation time. Unlike in the old building code, it's not the average that they have required for now. This is the longest reverberation time in the frequency field 125 to 4,000. So that has lots of influence. And this is a room in kindergartens where children are, and now the minimum requirement is 0.5. And for the best building, it's 0.3, which is very good. Now we have open landscape requirement, 0.4 or 0.3, but this wasn't in the old building code. And see, my time is over now. So my feeling and hope is that this will influence acoustics in buildings for the next years a lot. And And I think that all the towns, they are aware of how important this is. And I have some comparison between the other standards in the Norwegian countries. And in my opinion, I think it's the best we got now. It's very good requirements, and we have even more requirements than the other countries in the Nordic. So, thank you.